Hey, what's going on, sir? How can I help you today?
What's up? Hi, man. You got any joints?
Yeah. Yep, I deal with them every day. I have 3 different types.
3 different types? Well, tell me about them.
I have a zip strip, a saw cut, and a trowel joint. Which one would you like?
What the hell are you talking about? Dude, I just want to smoke some grass and be done. You're talking about a saw cut control joint? Or you're talking about a concrete control joint in the floor? I do concrete and I do concrete coatings. I think we should go somewhere else. Cheers, mate. Alright guys, what's up? Let's talk about those control joints. So, excuse the noise, just kind of sitting on the front porch enjoying a beautiful evening, but let's keep it short and sweet. So, first one we're going to talk about is going to be the zip strip. So, traditionally with the zip strip, it's an inverted T. Typically they're going to be plastic, but occasionally you're going to see the metal. My personal garage has got metal, so what you're going to see here in a picture in a minute is going to be what can happen if there's metal in your floor. But there's really no good option when it comes to a zip strip. So traditionally it's a controlled crack in the floor. It's what it looks like. So of course they're going to run in parallel lines, usually 2-4 of them in a garage. So the best way to go about them is always try to treat them like a crack. So there's obviously 2 different types of joint fill. There's a flexible polyurea joint fill material, then of course there's a rigid crack fill material. Now in most cases, I traditionally always tell you to put some rigid polyurea crack fill down and off you go. But honestly, in any type of control joint situation, it's always best to use a polyurea plural component joint fill. So even with zip strips, once you grind the floor, take your plural component joint fill, usually in a dual cartridge caulk gun, put it in, razor scrape it off, and then a lot of times I'll buzz a hand grinder over that one last time, and that smooths them out. Of course, it doesn't solve the problem of substrate failure. Cracking, shifting, moving can happen at any moment. So, especially in the northern half, make sure you tell your customers that it can happen. But that is by far the best way to go about treating a zip strip. Alright, now let's talk about the most common type of zip strip that we see in the north, and probably the most common one that's going to be out there in the world, to be honest. So that's going to be a saw cut control joint. So traditionally once they pour the concrete and when it's still wet, or just as it's curing, whether the following day or whatever it is, they're going to come back with a wet saw and they're going to cut a joint in the floor. Now again, all joints are controlled cracks. They're where the stress point of the concrete is supposed to crack. So if you walk in on a garage floor and you're going to see a 1/4 inch straight line that literally looks like it's made by a saw, yeah, it's a saw cut. So the best way to go about treating them in the garage floor coating application is to leave them open. Yes, we want to try to honor that concrete and make sure that it doesn't stress and move and keep going all around. So you're always going to have some type of customer that wants them filled. So what do? Again, plural component joint fill. Lots of good products out there, but if you can get a plural component polyurea joint fill, whether it's in the dual cartridge caulk guns again, or if you're large enough or got a big enough square footage, you can buy them in 5-gallon buckets, and then of course get it through a plural component pump, and then pump it down, shave it off. Now, one thing with plural component joint fills is they cure very fast. Minutes. They start tacking over in probably 15 to 20 seconds. So you definitely need to kind of understand what you're doing and making sure that you work with them properly. But control joints in this application, like these pictures that you're seeing, this is a plural component polyurea joint fill applied, razor scraped off after about 20 minutes, and then about 30 minutes after that, we go ahead and we run a grinder over them real quick just to smooth them out. So whether you're putting a garage floor application, commercial application, or if you're polishing, this is the way to seal your joints to make sure that they're a smooth transition and it still has enough elastomeric expansion and contraction to keep the concrete together where it doesn't crack.
Joints. This is going to be the last type of joint we talk about, and this is going to be the tool joint, or what I call a trowel joint, because it's put in at the time of the concrete pour with a physical tool, or they trowel it in manually. So very, very common in the southern half of the United States, especially in the southwest. In the northern half, we're going to see them on all of our sidewalks, driveways, as you can see in some of these pictures here. That's traditionally what you're going to see. And honestly, when it comes to joint fill, you should not fill these. There's really no good option. So when you come to actually grinding and prepping and everything, make sure that you're grinding up to them and make sure that they're not uneven. So be careful about running your grinder over them, but always try to round them. Those corners are already going to be rounded off, but run a grinder, whether a crack trace blade or anything, run down through them just so it's prepped just as evenly as everything else. Now, when it comes to actually joint fill or a plural component polyurea or epoxy crack fill, do not fill these type of in. When it comes to polyurea joint fill, this is too wide, too deep to actually fill to make sure that the material is going to work properly. And then of course when it comes to any type of rigid style material, we already know we don't put them in there. So if you're dealing with any type of trowel joint like you've seen in these pictures, always honor the joints. It's just the way it is. And when a customer wants them filled, honestly, the best way to go about it is going to be post-fill them. I've done it before where I've used like a Vulcum or a really self-leveling polyurethane caulk and then done the coating over the top of that, and it's looked good, but honestly, the joint has had a problem, and that's where I've had my cracks. So anytime you're in a trowel joint, just honor them and let them go. Joints? Alright guys, now you've learned about the 3 types of crack, and as you've seen from the intro, that guy was looking for the wrong type. So hope that helped. Very informative. If you like it, hit the thumbs up or subscribe to the channel and tell me in a comment below what you want to see, and we'll go from there. Coating consultant joints.